This isn't an ad for Cinco de Mayo, and the words Cinco de Mayo definitely didn't make you want a margarita just now. But if they did, you should stock up for Cinco on Drizzly. Drizzly is the easiest way to find the best prices on beer, wine, and spirits, then get them delivered to your door. Download the app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today. Or don't. Totally up to you. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
So, how does it feel when you play Roll Up to Win with Tim Hortons? Buy a hot or cold beverage using the Tim's app and find out. Roll in the app for a chance to win prizes ranging from free coffee and donuts to a Universal Orlando resort vacation or a sweet car. Oh, don't forget the TV. And this year, every roll is a shot at a $1,000 daily giveaway drawing for two $500 prizes. Roll up to win and get treated by Tim's. No purchase necessary. Account registration required. 50 U.S. and D.C. 18 plus entered by 4/2/23. See rules at rolluptowin.com for free entry and full details. Void in Florida and where prohibited.
Hashtag, music note intro. The draft 2023 round one Saints Twitter podcast draft recap. Recording right now. It is a little after 10 a.m. in New Orleans. I am in New Orleans right now in a hotel. Ryan is in New Orleans location unknown, at a hotel.
Yep.
We before we even talk about the draft, man, I just want to say this truly from the bottom of my heart. We were able to put together a draft party last night. Did a live stream at Beer Bayou Garden, and I just recently put a tweet up about it, just in terms of how crazy life is sometimes. The last time I was there was 2017 when we were there for the Pats Saints game, where first time you became a meme,
the infamous
one, where you tweeted out, hashtag fire Sean Payton, and then quickly deleted it. And fast forward almost 6 years later, and we're there, and there's a good bit of us there. We had Mike and Daniel from the UK. We had Joey from Pennsylvania. We had Brock drive from Lafayette. He drove 3 hours to be there.
Man.
Tony worked in Baton Rouge, and he lived in Hammond, so he drove 2+ hours to be there. It was a special night. I want to give big shout out to Beer Bayou Garden, just for the setup, the space. It was great.
Nice.
The vibes are great. It just really made me proud of the community that we've been able to build in a short period of time, because our anniversary of the podcast always kind of ties into the draft, as our first episode happened during 2020, during the pandemic, during the draft time, like a little month before or so the draft, like a month or so before the draft. And just to see how things have changed in 3 years. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of our listeners who listen, who support us. I want to thank our Patreons who listen and support us, and also whether it's $1, whether it's $10, $50, whatever the amount is, that's hard-earned money that you guys are putting, towards us, and in turn, we always try to make sure that the funds that we get from you guys to help us build this goes back to our community. And even though we do this podcast, we came together because we all have the same, affinity and liking the Saints and liking the same football team. Sometimes we get together and we Discord or whatever. It's like football is like the last thing we talk about.
Yep.
And it really has become a community, and it made me emotional kind of being there last night. And, Mike, our buddy from the UK, who is not gay, by the way, Ryan. So
we know. We know.
Mike just, kind of in the madness of last night, he just, leaned over to me much like he did when we had our first big meetup last October, and just said, like, you and Ryan should just be proud of yourselves, man, for everything you guys have done. And it hit a chord in me, and it made me emotional thinking about it. So anyhow, I'll wrap this diatribe up, but truly, everyone who support us, thank y'all so much. It means the world to us, and we wouldn't be here and be successful without the listeners and the fans. So we truly appreciate it.
No question.
Let's dive in.
Let's go.
Round one. The Saints stayed put, bro. They stayed put.
Man.
They did not move up. They did not trade up. I tweeted even before the draft started. I said, as long as they don't trade next year's 2024 first round draft pick, the first round is just like, that was my biggest fear. They did not trade up. They wanted to trade. I can say they wanted to trade up. They wanted to trade up. They called about trading up. But the price, a little too pricey, and kind of forced them to stay put. They draft Brian Bresee. Is it Bresee or Brees? Bresee.
Bresee.
Defensive tackle out of Clemson. Of course, look at the sheet that Jay helped us compile. In terms of the defensive tackle athletic profile, he's an outlier athletically, meaning that not only does he match, but he blows the numbers that defensive tackle would match because he's so gifted athletically. So he was an outlier. It hit a need. And I think the thing that makes me completely okay with this pick is that when I watch him, and there's not a lot on YouTube, there's not a lot of game cut-ups of him. No. But when you do watch him, or if you watch his highlights, I see it.
Yeah.
Like I don't question it. And I was gonna tweet this last night and I didn't, but I'm gonna say on this podcast. Maybe I did tweet it. Or maybe I put it in the Discord. I don't remember. But to me as a player, he is what people want Clancy to be at the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like everything people rave about Clancy as a tackle, when you watch Brian Bresee, he's actually that player. Now, he does come with some caveats. He has his torn ACL, so he missed a year of football for that. He had a shoulder issue, had a kidney infection, and then the big thing that kind of hovered over him last season is that his sister succumbed to, I believe it was brain cancer, if I remember.
Yeah, 15 years old.
So last year was a whirlwind for him. I kind of see this as a Saints move of like, this guy is so good at his position. He fits the need. He's in our cloud. Had he had either been healthy or maybe, and I hate to say this, but maybe didn't go through the things that he went through as a player or even just as a person, he's a player that probably should have been drafted a lot higher in their eyes. So the fact that he fell to them, for them at 29, it was a win for them. And I do not dislike the pick at all. And sometimes at the round one, we get on here, we're just annoyed, and I don't have any complaints, man. I really don't. I'm good with it. Good with it.
Especially with the way
the division draft.
The way the division drafted, but the way the board fell.
Yes.
Yes. When you saw, the running backs go early, you saw the quarterbacks go early, you saw, the run on defensive ends and a few defensive tackles go. It was just like, okay, who are the Saints going to pick?
Mm-hmm.
But But for him to still be there in that cloud, it just made a bunch of sense, man. Like athletically, his athletic profile is perfect, matches exactly what they look for. Um, Look, man, like you said, like I look at the tape, I don't feel disgusted. I see a dude
No,
that plays with a lot of energy, physical, strong,
he's
plays with that
explosive,
foot
bro.
explosive, plays with that football passion. He uses his hands. He has a mean like once he gets his hands on you, bro, like
You going
he
down?
got you. You going down, bro. Like he's not getting bullied all over the field and stuff like that. Took on a lot of double teams from that three tech. Sometimes he shades over the defensive end. Sometimes the offensive tackle. Sometimes tracks the ball. I just saw like an active player that regardless, you're getting a player that's gonna like gonna get after it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is not a player that you wonder like, does he like football and all that stuff.
No,
Like
no, no, no.
it's not even the question. Obviously, the only question is his health. And he's healthy
I
right now, from what I
I do feel
understand.
like his health things have slightly been blown
I do
a
too.
bit out of proportion.
Yeah, it just reminds me of like I'm not gonna do him that, but kind of like a Trey Hendrickson in a way. Because I remember when Trey Hendrickson was drafted, I was like, man, I can't find nothing on this guy. But he's like more like a rich man Trey Hendrickson, where he was like the highest recruited player coming out of
Yeah,
high
you
school. You know what I'm saying? Like he
number
was
one high
to
school
Georgia.
recruit.
You know what I'm saying? On that great Georgia defense. So I think it's just when you pick at 29, bro, especially like positions of value like defensive tackle, defensive end, cornerback, you're gonna get players with a star next to him or something, or some kind of little caveat, whether that's injury, whether that's off the field, or something. They're gonna have some kind of little
Top
thing next to him.
like a perfect example of that is the player that went right after them to
Exactly.
fuck the Eagles, bro. But like
Oh,
Nolan Smith, right? What's his caveat? Like it's what is his position? Where does he play? He's a little too small. He went to the perfect fucking team to kind of wipe away those questions, right?
right.
Um, but
But it was
to
the
your point,
perfect team, though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
oh my god,
that's
and,
why that's why he kept falling, because it was like only a specific team would draft him.
it was like the Eagles, the Steelers, the Pats, and the Jets. Like those kind of teams make perfect sense for Nolan Smith because
Yeah.
they anyway. We're getting aside, but yeah, to your point, the lower you get in the draft, like there's especially in a draft like this, like after 16, 17-ish players, a lot of the guys kind of just kind of meld together.
Hmm.
And I 100%, I won't say I know, but I 100% believe that Breesy was a player that was in their cloud as a absolute definite first round pick.
Yeah.
And he was there at 29. So I feel like I can tell the cloud. I don't feel like that is proprietary information that I can't disclose. So their cloud, and I put this in the Discord, was Brian Breesy, Miles Murphy, who got taken right before them. And I haven't watched a lot of Miles Murphy, but I just from what a little I've watched, I think that who drafted him? Them was the Jags.
Bengals.
Um,
Bengals.
I think the Saints may have gotten saved personally. That's just
I agree.
me.
I completely agree.
So Brian Breesy, Miles Murphy, Dalton Kincaid, who went to the Bills, and Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
And the fact that Smith-Njigba fell to 20, I was like when he got to 20, bro, I was
He
like,
was.
man,
We was waiting on that Florida leader
waiting,
spot for him,
bro,
bro.
waiting. It was like they about to go get him, but they didn't. Not for lack of trying, but they didn't go
Right.
get him. And you pair how they drafted. So let's on a bigger scale talk about how the NFC South drafted, right? So Bryce Young goes to the Panthers, which is no big surprise.
Mhm.
The Bucks take Clancy, who I think
Mhm.
also saved the Saints from themselves because
Thank you.
I as much of him as I watched was 2 games, maybe 2.5 games, bro. To me, he was not a first round talent. Like, not his tape. Now, athletically, sure, but purely based on his tape, was not a first-round talent to me. Sorry.
To me.
And then the Falcons, I think I talked about, I want to say either I put it in our Discord, I was talking about it maybe prior to the draft. The Falcons had, like, their kind of cloud was Bijan, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Jalen Carter. And Ryan Nielsen was pleading with Terry Fontenot for weeks. Please give me Jalen. Just give me Jalen. But they zagged and they went Bijan Robinson, and that makes that offense, like, we saw what happened last year with an Arthur Smith-led team, offensively, run game, Tyler Algiers, like that game was like the Saints won that game, but fuck, that was a hard game to watch as a fan. Just because when you are when you're a fan of a team and your team defensively cannot stop the run, that's a hard thing to watch, man. It's like I know players get heavily like, as a fan, I'm like, fuck, we can't stop these dudes at all. So then you want to sprinkle Bijan Robinson on top of that? The fact that the Saints drafted Breesy is like, the run game was shit last season. And I this may not be because they haven't drafted a whole bunch, but in the amount of defensive tackles they drafted in round one since I've been a fan. Since I've been a fan, it's been Jonathan Sullivan, Sed Ellis, Sheldon Rankins, and Brian Breesy. Breesy probably is one of the more excited picks I have been that they drafted at that position. Because typically I hate defensive tackle in the first round. You know this. I can't stand it. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
It's a hard position to get right, bro. It's so hard to get right. It's hard to find those type of guys, like the really good ones. So it's like, and even when they are good in college, it's like, will it translate to the NFL? And, it's just so much that comes with it. But you're right, man. Like, when I look at him, he's one of the better DTs that they drafted in the first round. All I wanted was them just to get somebody where I don't have to squint and kind of like,
thank you,
look and see like, oh, well, maybe, if, he's an athlete, so maybe if they could coach him up, obviously he needs coaching, but I'm not worried so much about his ability. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As long as he's healthy, I think he's going to be an impact player. How much of an impact player, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? But I think he has the, athleticism, the football attitude, the football instincts, and all that stuff to be a good player.
I do too.
Like you said, it's a position of need, bro. Like that defensive tackle spot was a sore hole. So now they got the two guys that they picked up in free agency. They got him. You still got a whole draft to go through the next couple of days. So just it'll help. Look, it still probably is a weakness at the defensive end spots. Probably don't address it in this draft. Maybe, but probably not. But at least you got some beef on that line that'll pretty much make everybody else's job easier.
Right. I feel like this is like one of the few times where you have value in terms of BPA and need essentially kind of aligning, right? I think maybe the last time that's happened for the Saints, maybe without I would say potentially like without them trading, right? And they just kind of stayed put was probably like Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
So and that worked out, and I'm not comparing the two at all. But it's just I'm good with the pick. I really am. And
I was more upset that there was no real reaction. Everybody was just like,
it was like,
oh, okay.
I get it.
Even on Twitter, everybody was like, oh, look on Twitter. Some people was mad they didn't get Nolan Smith. Like, bro, the Saints were never going to draft Nolan Smith, bro. Like,
it wasn't going to make no sense. Like, I'll be fair. I'll be honest, right? The player I wanted was Michael Mayer.
Right.
who's still
He didn't get drafted.
available,
He's still on the board. Yeah.
still on the board. I don't think he makes it to 40. And round
No.
2 starts at 6 p.m. Central. So
Pittsburgh #1. Pittsburgh, Cardinals, Detroit, Colts. Yeah, Mayor. He's going to one of them.
Can we just quickly talk about? And this I gotta give myself a little credit. You know, we started this game, and I want to give a shout out to our dude Dark Saint and Corey, two of the co-hosts of the 28 and 3 podcast. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. Came by, they were great. Max came with his wife. Corey was there. Just great dudes, and like this is what as a Saints community, right? Yes, each of us have our own podcast, but neither of us have animosity or anything like that where there's beef or struggle. Like we all sit at the same table, right? And we all are doing this for fun and just to, have a good time. And so they came by, and so Max came up with this great idea because, everyone was kind of predicting the pick before it came out, and so then he started a competition. So Max won. He won last night.
Max won?
Yeah, he correctly picked 6 picks. So let me clarify. If there was a consensus of what the team was going to do, like if everyone said, the Lions were going to draft and everyone's in agreement, then no one got the pick. But Max got 6 picks right. I got 4, and then I don't know who was after that. But I think my shining moment of the night was when Detroit was on the clock and everyone was guessing who. I just had a feeling. I said Jahmyr Gibbs. I just felt it. I just felt it. And I stayed off of social media almost the entirety of last night, so I didn't want to be spoiled about what was coming. And it probably got flamed on social media and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
but
the nerds were rioting.
It made sense. It made sense to me.
I don't know if there's anything that just annoys me more because don't get me wrong. Like I understand the logic. Look, I work in reporting. I work with data and reporting. I understand analytics. I work with analytics. I understand value. I get it. Like I understand the running back argument, but it has seemed to like it's jumped the shark.
Shark, bro.
To the point where it's like, why are you touching a running back in the first round? You shouldn't even think of touching one. They shouldn't even be on your board in the first round. It's like, what are you talking about, bro? Like every draft is different, and the goal of the draft is to get good players on your team.
That's it.
Period.
Good players, bro.
That's it. And them people was excited. Detroit fans excited to get an exciting offensive weapon. Like they keep calling him running back, but he's a weapon. Pass game, run game, everything. That impacts your team. That impacts winning. That impacts excitement of watching football. So it's like I just wish they shut up about where these guys get drafted, bro. Like it's a good pick. Like be happy for them. Yeah, could they have waited 3 more picks or 5 more picks? Sure. Who cares?
Just good players, man. Just fucking get them and figure it out later.
It works out in the end. Like if you follow that concept of getting good players, it all works out in the end.
It does. So let's talk about the Saints a little bit, and then I kind of want to talk about the draft as a whole. We don't want to make this a too long of an episode. We had a great time last night. I think my body's still like I didn't even drink a whole bunch, but like it was humid yesterday as it is usually in New Orleans, and this morning as I'm getting dressed, I was like, man, I did not pack enough fucking shorts. I brought too many fucking jeans. Like, God, goofed.
Ryan, it's time to tell the listeners a secret.
Yo,
the infamous picture of you going viral on social media, sweating in the white shirt, looking confused. What people don't know is before that picture was taken, you had just mowed the lawn in the hot New Orleans heat.
Yep, sweating.
Don't know about you, but if you want to avoid becoming a meme and avoid becoming a viral hit on social media, I think instead of you mowing the lawn, there's a company out there that got you covered. That is Ground Up Landscaping Services. They service the greater New Orleans area. We've seen their work in person. at the hashtag Saints for the Podcast meetup. The backyard area was outstanding.
Yeah, we know the owner of this company. He's an outstanding person, a really good dude. And look, I've seen pictures of his work done all around New Orleans. Beautiful work. Everything he takes care of, him and his crew, and he's good, honest, and on time. If you want to visit them, visit www.groundupnola.com, and you get the book a free quote. And these guys are licensed and insured. So this is not some, shade tree, guy to come cut your grass. These are dependable business professionals that will take care of your lawn. And they do beautiful work that you can check out on their Instagram and Facebook. They'll make your garden space spectacular from the ground up.
So round 2 approaches. They're at pick 40. Let's assume that they don't trade up. I want to do who are players you think. Give me 2 players you think they would draft, and give me 2 players you hope they do draft.
Man, I gotta look at a board or something, man. Like who's available?
It's a lot of good players still available. A lot of them.
Obviously Mayer. We talked about him.
Is that a hope they draft, or you think they will draft?
I think they're gonna go offense. I'm gonna say that much. I do think they go offense with this number 40 pick. Whether that's a running back, do they want to wait around like they did last year and miss out like on Kenneth Walker and all that stuff? Right now, I mean, who's available? You got Charbonnet, you got Spears. I don't think this would be. I don't think 40 is too early for Spears. Don't play around. If you really like him, go get him.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's early, but it's not too early. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want him, if you really like him, go get him. Like, I wouldn't be mad at it. To pick him at 40. And these running backs are going, bro. Like there's gonna be a point where they just start flying off the board, and you can mess around and try to wait till the 3rd round, which is fine because there probably will be other running backs they can get. But if Spears is the only one I'm really thinking about right now, but there are some other good ones. I just can't think of their names right now. But obviously Mayer, I don't think they would draft him, but
I don't think they would either.
But if he's there, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Laporte or whatever his name is, that tight end, I would like him. Could definitely see offensive line too. No idea who's available, but I could see them addressing offensive line. So I don't know. Who else you got?
So I think, so I'm going to go with one. If it was me at 40, I would want Michael Mayer if he was available. Who's another? I can't. It sounds maybe very boring, but I'd also want Osiris Torrance.
Oh, he's still there. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, the guard.
That'd be a good pick, man.
It would be. I think it would be such a meat and potatoes draft because you draft a defensive tackle and start, and then you draft the offensive line. Like that's in the trenches, but they need help in the trenches, and I Cam Jordan, however much he has left, kind of has a new running mate, at the interior. And something I wanted to say earlier about Brian Bresee is like, and I saw this when Paris Johnson got drafted. Like these, defensive tackles and left tackles, man, they are just built differently now.
Oh yeah, man.
Like when you watch Brian Bresee, like when he's making a play, and I'm like, is that a DT? Like he is like chiseled and just like he doesn't look like 300-pound lumbering. Even let's go back to what was the Ndamukong Suh draft in who am I thinking of? Oklahoma went to Carol, who played. I can't think of his name.
Gerald.
Gerald McCoy. Thank you.
Gerald McCoy. Yeah.
Like even their body type. Well, Sue was a little different, but like just the body type of like a Gerald McCoy juxtaposed to the body type of Brian Bresee. It's like y'all playing the same position. Like what?
No, it's crazy, man.
Sorry, but so those are my ones. Is Michael Mayer and Osiris Torrance. My players I think they probably would draft if they go offense, if they go tight end, It would be a very, very Saints pick. But I'm going with Sam Laporta, the Iowa tight end who I believe got hurt last year, or maybe I'm thinking someone else. But listen, if it's him, he meets all the metrics. One thing I will say about Iowa, they put out tight ends, bro.
Oh yeah, no question.
And
look, they could go defense though. They could go defense, and
yeah. So that's the player. If they choose to go offense, I'm predicting. If they choose to go defense, I could easily see them going Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, still on the board, or Brian Branch, who like is nickel safety, kind of really fits in that Jeff Ireland wheelhouse of players.
Mm-hmm.
I know some fans may not understand the Joey Porter Jr. pick, and on paper it wouldn't make sense. I could just see that pick being we had him as like a low first round grade, and he fell to us at 40, and he was just too good to pass up type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, they could, speaking with corners, Keely Ringo, who I'm not a huge fan of, but it's also about the value thing. But I do want them, this is going back to the wants, I do want them to get something offensively. That preferably not O-line at some point. Like tight end, another wide receiver, running back. I do want them to do that round 2, not round 2, round 3. But yeah. Anything else you wanted to add on that?
They could also look at defensive end, our boy Andre Carter out of Army. He's still out there.
Oh, God. Bro, I would be...
Keon White.
Stop it. I don't want to hear it, bro.
Keon White out there. I'll just say this. Look, Andre Carter at 40, not a player I love, but I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be mad at it. That's, that gives you something to work with. Like you said, man, they got to get some offensive talent in here, bro.
They do.
Got to get some wide receiver. I don't know. Hyde didn't get drafted, right?
No.
Jonathan Hyde. Who else they got? Cedric Tillman, somebody I like. Who else they got out there?
They got Josh Downs, but I could not see them drafting him.
Yeah.
They got Michael Wilson, wide receiver from Stanford. And we'll see. I guess I'm a little annoyed, and this is like the old man yelling at the clouds. It's like, man, when did day 2 get moved to fucking 6 p.m.? Like that shit used to be like early, after round 1, and now it's just like fuck. Anyway, let's back up a little bit out of the NFC South, out of talking about the Saints and just things that happened in this draft that was just kind of like very maybe eye-opening for you, that just kind of caught your attention.
I wouldn't say eye-opening, but just the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans doubling up, just getting their QB and getting their edge. I just love that. You know what I'm saying? I love it because there was always speculation. Well, are they going to go edge and just, punt on the QB situation? Or are they going to wait on the QB? No, they say, let's just do both. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do both and knock it out. Will it work out? We'll see. But look, I like CJ Stroud. I think
I do too, man.
A quarterback.
And I'm glad he didn't that slander that was like like the week before. I'm glad he got his time to shine in the sun. He goes high. I did believe, and this is just kind of tells you how finicky NFL teams could be. There was a belief, and it wasn't even a belief. Like it was kind of like written in stone that the reason they would not go with him was because of his agent, of David.
Right. No.
Because of the whole Deshaun Watson situation. They were, and then at some point between when I was told that and the draft, so who knows when, it got figured out, right? Which things are always fluid.
Yeah. The ownership plays a role in that too.
Yes.
Right? Like, man, take that quarterback, So I don't know, but I'm just, it was good to see that they just not be stupid. I hate when teams just do stupid stuff. What else kind of surprised me? Bijan Robinson to the Falcons didn't surprise me.
Did that surprise you though? Maybe I had
surprise me.
Okay.
But it was just, it was just more like
It was annoying.
annoying. Yeah,
Yes.
like of course. What else stood out? Like I said, I like the Lions draft. Um, Anything else? Detroit, they took Jack Campbell, that big ass linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that was just interesting because he just reminded me of like a
Like a
1970s
throwback.
linebacker, bro. Like I was like, what the? I was surprised to see him go in the first round. Period. Honestly. Let's see what else. No, that was pretty much it, man. Like nothing really shocked me in this draft other than that and seeing the Texans move up.
That was a shock. I would say maybe not a huge shock because the Seahawks tend to do that, zag when some teams zig, but then drafting a cornerback and
Yeah.
Devon Witherspoon at 5 as high as they did was a surprise. And we talked about it last night at our table. The job that Pete Carroll's done in rebuilding this team, right? Because like you said, there was a while where they looked like they were going to be a perennial team picking in at the top 5, top 8, like repeatedly. And they essentially completely turned their team around very quickly. So now they drafted Devon Witherspoon. And later on, they had Jackson Smith and Jigba just fall to them, just a fucking gift. So now you have Gene, and I got to see where are they picking before the Saints are at 20 or sorry at 40? Like, are they picking before 40? I don't have the draft list up.
Before us, they pick at 37.
So, and I'm not saying that they're gonna do this, but they could easily at 37. They could take Will Levis. They could take Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
And just have we paid Geno. That's cool, but Geno's older, and then boom, in round 2 we got our guy potentially of the future. They're doing some things, and I don't like it because like fuck the Seahawks, like fuck Pete Carroll. But he's like you said, he's a good coach, a great coach. I don't even want to like he's a great coach. You said you'd love to sit down with him and talk about conspiracy theories.
Having a conspiracy theories podcast with Pete Carroll.
So what? So what about the jet fuel? Like how did it too hot? Like, anyway, so
and the Colts taking Andy Richardson. So Andy Richardson really did go top 5, man.
He did, bro.
That's wild. And look, man, like I have my little gripes about him, but I want to see him succeed. Like
absolutely.
If he succeeds, that's gonna be fun. Like that's gonna be fun for the NFL.
I do not like the fact that he is 99% going to be thrusted in being a starter. Don't like that for him.
Yeah.
But I think that could go very negatively very quickly. But he goes to Indianapolis, who has pretty decent offensive line. It's gotten kind of overrated, and they've gotten older and injured the last couple of years, so probably not as good as it was. But an okay offensive line. They have Jonathan Taylor, who they can lean on heavily. You have your head coach, Shane, whatever his name is, Steichen, whatever, but he comes over from Philadelphia, who kind of really helped build this offense around Jalen Hurts. Yeah. And what is it, bro? Did we not? And I can't take full credit for it because a friend kind of told it to me first. But the whole, and this is before Anthony Richardson blew up the combine, right? But this whole comparison of Anthony Richardson to Jalen Hurts, and it would take and sure enough, like who drafts him? The now head coach who coached Jalen Hurts last season. Yep. So one thing I did want to talk about before we close out though. So you mentioned Anthony Richardson. We talked about CJ Stroud. This draft is first of all, it's a perfect Greg draft. He's like, what? No white quarterbacks? But the way the pendulum has absolutely completely swung. Like
crazy.
We had like the first picks, Bryce Young, Now, Bryce Young is a pocket passer, but he has elite pocket presence, but he can move when needed. CJ Stroud, again, more of a pocket passer. Probably before that Georgia game, fans and scouts questioned, can he make plays outside of scrimmage, right? Anthony Richardson, we all know what he is as a player. The fact that black quarterbacks all got drafted top 5, and you have a classic throwback pocket passer, Will Levis. Just if this was the draft, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago? Will Levis going top
Right.
number 1 overall, bro.
No question. No question. He going to the Texans. He going to the Panthers. Somebody. He going there, bro. Going to the Colts. No question.
Ryan, he did not get drafted in round 1.
And he was in Kansas City. Sitting there.
And I understand a lot of the gripes about him, right? I've watched very little of him, but he, as a prospect, he reminds me of a poorer man's Josh Allen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like the throws that Josh could make at Wyoming when you could see, like, it made scouts go, ooh, you saw it, even though the inaccuracy, blah blah. I just feel like Will Levis is, as a prospect, not success, but as a prospect, is a poor man's Josh Allen. I also think that maybe something that hurt him in the process of leading up to the draft is, you would read some things of just how he interviewed, and like maybe that little, and I don't want to say like you could kind of look and tell, but he kind of just had this arrogance about just this aura of just entitlement, maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe teams now are more hesitant of that, just as recently as Zach Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Maybe have the same kind of personality, and then he becomes a pro, and then his team's not winning, and then when he's getting asked, like, hey, like, what happened? He's like deflecting, and he's blaming everyone except himself.
Exactly.
And maybe teams have picked up a little more on that, of just like, no, like if you have that and your tape is inconsistent as it is, like, no, we good. We don't care how big you are. We don't care how far you can throw the ball. We good. It's just crazy how the pendulum has swung.
Yes, it is crazy. It is crazy, and I think he's gonna get drafted tonight.
Oh yes, I think he's gonna get drafted tonight. I think he's gonna get drafted early.
And I mean, look, man, like, shoot, anybody could take him. Honestly, like, he might be there for the Titans to take him. He might be there for the Lions to take him in the second round. He might be there for the Rams to take him. I doubt they would. Like you say, Seahawks, Raiders could take him.
Yep.
I mean, so that's just crazy, because it's to the point where it's like, Will Levis. Now it's like,
right, because it's the value's different.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to hit up on in the draft?
I'm just looking forward to when the draft over, so we could just kind of look at the whole thing, holistically.
Right. I don't have anything else. But again, they didn't
trade up.
They didn't trade up. They didn't sacrifice any picks in the future from next year's draft. And now they really have an opportunity to get a player that they want at 40 potentially. And third round, if there's a guy that's just on that cloud, or offensive player that they love, I can see them trading, some picks later on the draft to go up, or maybe some picks next year's draft to go up. But to your point, to see how this team looks after all the dust has settled, it's going to be interesting to see, man. On paper, and I hate saying this, right? Because what does fucking on paper mean? People crumple up paper, gets wet, whatever. On paper, this team should be able to get to at least be a wild card team in the NFC. At least. On paper and pencil.
in pencil on
Not
loose
even,
leaf.
not even competition, bro.
I do. I agree though, man. I agree. Like they
Right,
put that
and
to the
if they
front.
are, let me say this: if they are, so Max and I had made a bet. I forgot what I don't remember. I don't even remember what the first bet was, but we doubled it. So I owed Dark Saint Max a dinner from our first bet, and then we doubled it. So the bet we doubled it on is that he is predicting that the Saints will win over. So I think the win total for the Saints is 9.5. I think, or it was when we made it. So he's predicting that the Saints will win over. I said under, and we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. We recapped round one. We appreciate y'all for supporting us. So round two, round three are tonight. Ryan, because you guys head back tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know when we're gonna recap round two, round three. Ryan and Bree were there on their wedding anniversary. So told you
We had a
last
good time
night.
though, man. Me and Bree would talk about it all morning. She really enjoyed herself. You know.
Had Ryan try that tequila rosé.
Ooh, that rosé, boy.
Can't find it in the States. Shout out to our dude Dan for bringing it over. It looks like Pepto Bismol. You're like, ugh, what is that? I'm like, oh, so all Daniel did is he sent me a picture of it either in the Discord or he texted it to me. And tequila's my favorite liquor. Period. I'm not a beer drinker, but you get some tequila in me, I'm good to go. So he showed it to me. It's like tequila rosé, strawberry cream. I said, bro, you go ahead and bring that shit over, bro. Bring it over. And then you see it, and it absolutely fucking just looks like fucking Pepto Bismol. Like it looks like it would not. But it just, you drink it and it tastes good and it goes down just smooth. And we had that. We had those. I had two of the watermelon margaritas, the frozen ones. Good time. So if that's not a sales pitch, and we're not salesmen, but if that's not encouragement for you as a listener to become a Patreon, because all the things that we do as a community, the draft party, the big meetup we're gonna do, 6 months away or 5 months away, you probably at the next for the next home game we do in New Orleans. All that's for our Patreons only. And last night was fun. Last October was fun. I really think that this next big meetup, bro, that we might get close to like at least 30, 35 people, bro. Like I feel it. I feel it. Which is funny because we're by nature a bit of introverts, right?
Yeah.
I think knowing you as long as I've known you now, I feel like you're probably more of an introvert than I am. And I thought I was an introvert.
No question.
Yeah.
Easily.
But when you just get us around, our people, our friends, basically like, we make jokes in the Discord of how, making the Don Toretto fucking Fast and Furious. Like, I don't have friends, I have family. Like, but it's real, bro. Like that's what it is for us. So become a Patreon, just so you're there in person with us. And if you just want to just listen and just listen, rate us 5 stars, whatever, love it. Do all that. But if you want to join us and just be with us, and maybe if you don't even know anyone there, like it won't be long before you feel a part of the group and just the vibes. That's all. It's just good fucking vibes, good people. We don't have anyone where everyone's just like, well, not in person, right? We don't have anyone where we're just like, oh shit, such and such is here. Oh fuck, like, oh Jesus, we don't have that, man. Like, I love it. It truly is special. So anyhow, we will be back maybe tomorrow, but we don't worry. We got you guys covered in terms of the recap for the rest of the draft. Someone tweeted us yesterday like, "Oh, you, Adam and Ryan, you guys been really." oh, we just did a 5-hour live stream, sir. Like,
Right. Exactly. Like, we hadn't heard from you. Nah, bro.
Well, if we posted the YouTube link, like it was up. Like you couldn't see us. So anyhow, we will be back this week to recap the rest of the draft. Thank y'all for the support. Last night was amazing. And you'll hear from us soon. The next couple of days. You have our with that. Wrap.